To find a hacker in your system or malware in your system, what you could do is use a tool called Splunk. Now, Splunk is this graphical interface where you can search around in a graphical way. So unlike those traditional ways where you browse text files, Windows event logs, or Linux logs, you can use this graphical interface that uses those log files as input, but it lets you browse around way easier. So we have this TryHackMe challenge. It's called the Splunk the Basic. Splunk is this widely used tool. And we started already the machines. You see here, this machine is running, and I started the attack box. And what you'll need to do is to copy this address. So you can copy it, then use this little copy bar, and then paste it inside Firefox. So open a tab or open Firefox and press Ctrl+V and press enter, and then you'll see this Splunk interface. So it's something to keep in mind, because when you start the attack box, it just shows this empty desktop, right? So you have to open Firefox and then paste in the address that will be appearing here. It will be different because these numbers are completely random, this address. But paste it in and you'll see this Splunk interface. So Splunk has three components. It has the indexer, the search, and the forwarder. Now, most of the time, almost always, you'll just use the search and reporting feature. So the forwarder and the indexer, they run in the background. They're not really part of the everyday investigation. So you see here, they say this Splunk forwarder is installed, and the task of this forwarder is to collect data and send it to the Splunk instance. So it's running in the background. You'll see on this, the data can be anything, right? It can be Linux data, Linux log files, Windows, web, database, or Apple computer. Then you have this indexer. And what it has to do is to get this data and then forward it to the Splunk interface. And finally, you have Splunk itself, where the main thing you'll always be using is this search view. So this little search and reporting screen. And from there, you can easily search in your log files. You see a little search bar here, and you can select by time. And it's quite a cool tool. So first challenge question is, which component is used to collect data and send data over to the Splunk instance? Now, there were three components. There's the search. So the search doesn't really collect data. There's the indexer. So you see here with the database. And the forwarder, it collects data and sends it to the Splunk instance. So the first answer here is the forwarder. Then they talk about navigating Splunk. They're going to talk a little bit about this interface. So they have this bar on top with messages and other stuff. They have the panel, which is where all the apps show. You'll see the search and reporting app that we used before. Then we have the Splunk dashboard. So there's a bunch of options here in the dashboard. And they ask us in the Add Data tab, which option is used to collect data from files and port. So we have this option, Add Data. And then we'll have three options. We have the upload option. We can upload a file from the computer. It could be a log file. We can monitor, and we can forward. Now, when you see monitor here, you'll see files and ports on this Splunk platform instance. So we type here monitor, and that is correct. Next, important step, the add data. So Splunk without data makes no sense. Let's add some data. So we go again to the main interface and click add data. And they explain here all the steps to add data. But basically we need to download the task files, but they're also available here in the attack box, and it is in root rooms Splunk basic. So if we open a file explorer, let's see here, root rooms, and we should have here that other folder, Splunk basic, and we have here a log file. So we don't need to mess around with this little thing to download here and then download again. You can simply go to this folder and we have the log file. So let's import this log file. You see we need to do several steps. So we could go here and we upload, click upload. Then we have several steps that we need to go through. So we click select file. We go to root, rooms, and then to Splunk basic. And we can select this file. Let's see, it takes a second to upload. Then we click next. And you'll see we can select the source type. So this is fine. You see the logs will look like this. Click next. Then we have some other inputs. All fine. We can click review. And finally, we click the submit button. So now that the log file is uploaded, we can start searching. So we click start search. And you'll see we have now the log data inside here, which is a graphical interface. So on top here, you have a timeline. And you'll see various events here like this in this colored rows with all of the data of the events. And on the left, we can filter the events and also on top. So on the left, we can simply filter by clicking around. And on top, we can filter by adding some commands. So they say upload the data and how many events are present in the log file. So you'll see here on top the number of events. If you have it in all time, make sure to have it always in all time, unless they ask otherwise. So let's 28182. And you'll see we have a host IP here. So let's remove that host IP. And you'll see we have 2862. There we go. They ask us how many log events are captured by the user Malina. If we scroll down, we can see select a username. And then we select Malina. And we'll see that Malina has 60 events. Then they ask us which username is associated with this IP, this internet address. So let's remove Malina here. And there we go. Then we can search for source IP. And they want 107. Okay, they want another address that I don't see listed here, but we can modify it in the search bar. So let's change it. So 107.14.182.38. And you'll see here username Smith. So this username Smith is associated with this address, with this internet address. Notice that I changed it manually. Then they ask us what is the number of events that originated from all countries except France. So you must be able to select a country, say source country, and France, it has 48 events. So basically we have the number of events minus France minus 48. So we have 2862 events minus that 48. Let's see, 48. So that's 2814. And then they say how many events were associated with this internet address. So what we can do is we can search for this, select source IP, and then select the address. So that's 107.3.206. Again, we don't see it in the list, but what we can do is simply click on it and then change it manually. So 173.206.58, enter. And we'd see there's 14 events associated with that internet address. And if you want, you can browse around these events. You'll see there's many different events with details on the event data. So for example, here we have an event from the US, from that address, from that username, and it's something with VPN. And they connected to this port, and see some other information. So Splunk can be very useful to explore log files because you have all this graphical interface. You can click around, you can select timeline, you can easily filter for a username, a country, and other information. So that's it, a quick introduction to this Splunk tool. And you'll see we have the room completed.